I'm Cape Joel, and this is Comic Smack, the weekly comic book show where we take deeper, more in-depth looks at the coolest and most happening stories going on in comics currently. And on today's show, we're taking a look at Avengers Standoff-Welcome to Pleasant Hill, issue number 1. Now, outside of being just a gigantic mouthful of a title, this book is the first shot fired in a brand new Avengers event that's going to be crossing over with a ton of different books next month. So let's hop on into the first issue and see what we can see. So, as the comic opens, Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, has returned to Earth in his position as the Watcher on the Wall. For those of you who read Original Sin, you will remember that Bucky took up the old mantle of Old Man Nick Fury as a defender of Earth from extraterrestrial and extra-dimensional threats that the heroes couldn't handle. Only now it would seem the Earth-destroying threat that he's chasing after is coming, well, from Earth itself, a SHIELD research facility to be exact. It would seem that the scientists there were running strange experiments on shards of the cosmic cube. Experiments that went horribly wrong and left a lot of people dead. Bucky unfortunately is unable to get to the bottom of this as SHIELD agents swarm all around him. We then cut over to Maria Hill, who denies any and all involvement with strange experimentation, saying that, hey, even if we were, we would be justified in the matter. I mean, do you remember that incursion stuff that happened? That was scary. We need to do everything we possibly can to keep ourselves safe. For those who have been reading Nick Spencer's Captain America run, you will know that SHIELD and Maria Hill in particular has been moving into a more morally questionable direction. Nick Spencer is also taking point on this issue and the event as a whole. From there, we cut on over to a hiker coming to in the woods. This guy looks familiar, kinda like Bucky if he cut his hair and got his act together. The kindly Sheriff Eve brings him into the town of Pleasant Hill, a Pleasantville by way of the Stepford Wives sort of town. You know what I mean? Fake smiles and optimism, as well as an Orwellian Big Brother is watching you kind of feel. The hitchhiker, who is currently suffering from amnesia, is brought before Dr. Selvig. Hey, nice Thor the movie shoutout. Someone tell Stellan Skarsgård he's officially a canon immigrant now. They tell the hitchhiker everything's going to be fine, but just that he needs to stay in town. Stay forever. Understandably, this freaks him right the hell out and he attempts to escape, only to be cut off by SHIELD agents. Cut forward 30 days and many escape attempts later, and the hitchhiker, now calling himself Jim, is enjoying a psychiatric visit from Dr. Banner. Yeah, it seems like old Jim is totally turned around on Pleasant Hill. I like it here. I have a job and I play on the softball team and it is good. I don't try to escape anymore. Okay, he actually kind of does have a reason for drinking the Pleasant Hill Kool-Aid, and that is during one of his escape attempts he actually met a little girl who seemingly brought a dead bird back to life. This is no doubt the same little girl we see on the cover of the comic cradling a piece of the cosmic cube. Jim settles into his life in Pleasant Hill being a handyman around town, but things change in a very major way when he saves a baby from a burning building. You see, the fire was started by this Tony Stark looking guy who says that if Jim wants to know the truth about this town and why they're all stuck there, to come visit him at 4 a.m. Of course, before he can do that, Jim needs to be honored by the mayor of Pleasant Hill, Maria Hill. Of course, this hill proves to be anything but pleasant. She more or less tells Jim to tell her everything that he knows about the fire and who may have started, or else she's gonna go medieval on his ass. Jim decides now is the time to take up Tony Stark looking guy on his offer, and when he gets there he's regaled with his own story of how that guy came to Pleasant Hill, how he also had amnesia, was also set up with a menial task job, in this case a mechanic, but something interesting happened. He found he had a knack for building things, inventing things, and one day he just kinda managed to invent something to undo whatever it is those running Pleasant Hill did to his mind. He also found an instructional video for those working in Pleasant Hill. It seems that Maria Hill had designed Pleasant Hill to be the ultimate penitentiary for costume supervillains, ones that rewrote their minds into something more docile. A self-sustaining prison community run by a state-of-the-art security protocol. But now you're all probably thinking to yourself, if Pleasant Hill is a place for bad guys, then why are Iron Man and Winter Soldier there? Well, that's because they're not. They only thought they were. As it turns out, these two guys we've been following this whole issue, they're actually Baron Zemo and the Fixer. Avengers Standoff-Welcome to Pleasant Hill #1 is a heck of a start to this new event. Real outside-the-box stuff here. I always knew it was going to be hard for Marvel to follow something like Secret Wars with another event, and it's nice to see they've come up with
something equally as abstract. Nick Spencer also shines doing probably the most serious story I think I've ever read of his, considering that I came to love him so much as a writer from his comedy work on The Superior Foes and the all-new Ant-Man. Art's good, dialogue is sharp, and it's fun and cool to see S.H.I.E.L.D. become more of a morally ambiguous group for this series, almost being more villains than the actual villains that we've seen. I give this one a very positive 9 out of 10. I am so in for this event. I hope it can keep up the momentum. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching my newest video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll feel like checking out some more videos I have on offer here at Cape Joel.